I'm Wendy.
I'm Steve, and this is Pippin.
And together we're the Happy Travellers.
It was about this time of year, May, 10 years ago, 2016, that we started thinking about creating a YouTube channel. Our first video went out on the 1st of June 2016, so we're very fast approaching that anniversary date, which is quite incredible, really, that we've been going on YouTube for 10 years. I'm not quite sure why we started a YouTube channel. It was, I was just looking back at some old photos from 10 years ago, and it was about this time of the month, early the first week or so, that we had a caravan, and my sister and brother-in-law, Jill and Dave, they encouraged us to go to the Caravan and Motorhome Club. I think it might have been called the Caravan Club back then. The Caravan and Motorhome Club National Rally. I thought, oh wow, that's, well, you'll meet all sorts of people that have caravans and, the same sort of mindset and so on. But actually we didn't enjoy it at all, because and the reason we didn't enjoy it was really because the people that were there, I mean, we were brand new, we didn't really know what we were doing, we didn't know how to be, as it were. But we didn't enjoy it because the people seemed to be so sort of, how do you say, cliquey, sort of in their little groups and not really inviting. There was we were parked up with I think it was with the Surrey group, and there was sort of marquee with some, bring your own drinks. There was some sandwiches supplied and so on. But it was like they were all sat round in a circle. And when we went in to the sort of marquee, not one person, not even the leader of that group, introduced themselves or said hello, or it was like they'd circled the wagons, as it were, keep all strangers out. So we're persistent in that way. We're quite friendly people. So we sort of got involved. We started chatting to people, and okay, conversation was a little bit stilted. We've just started. They'd all been caravanning for years, some of them decades. One couple that we actually got to know quite well over time, they'd been in the Caravan and Motorhome Club, or Caravan Club, for over 40 years. So the reason we got to know them so well is, we went to a sort of general meeting, as it were, and that's when we volunteered. We volunteered to be wardens at Slinfold Caravan Club site. It's a site with no services, and only kept going because it apparently wasn't profitable. Only kept going by the use of volunteer wardens, which is a bit odd. I look back and I'm very glad that we only did the 2 weeks. We enjoyed it. That isn't the reason I say, glad we only did 2 weeks. We enjoyed ourselves very much, which led us on to become wardens on a independent site. But as we started our volunteer 2 weeks, I think we started there on the 1st of June 2016 for a couple of weeks, and I started recording that day. Maybe that was the reason. It's like, let's record our journey of being campsite wardens and doing all that sort of stuff. Because we hadn't, I think we got the notion that we might spend full time. We might go full time in our caravan at that point. So we'd picked up the caravan on the 26th of March 2016, and we'd started the wardening on the first, I think about the 1st of June, because I've got pictures of me and Wendy taking full-length pictures of us in our brand new uniform, with hats and sweatshirts and so on. So I think that was the first day we were wardening. So so I think that's when that's probably the reason we started. I can't quite remember why. Wendy was, of course, a little nervous about starting a YouTube channel. Didn't know what that was about. But I'd been helping small business to advertise their businesses over the past few years, to make videos for YouTube and do it that way. Quite popular these days, isn't it? To do a bit of influencer marketing. Anyway, so 10 years of this sort of stuff, being out and about. A friend said recently, I'm still nervous about talking to camera in public. And I suppose it can be a bit nerve-wracking. I suppose I've got to a place where I sort of don't care what people think, and I do get interrupted as I walk around doing this sort of stuff. Sometimes we don't do too much of it, people get worried about being on camera, the public, but I tend to ignore all that sort of stuff and just get on with it. But back then, our intention was to do a daily video. That turned out to be very hard indeed. It still is very hard indeed to do daily videos. We did I think we did a month of daily videos early this year. As we entered our sort of 10th year, 2026, from 2016, we thought it would be a great idea to do a daily video again. And that, it's interesting to do those daily videos because it makes you think about your life a bit. What are you going to talk about? What's going to be interesting? But more recently, I've realised that trying to make things, the interesting, the emphasis on make, sort of force things to be interesting, just is useless. It just doesn't work on any level really. Why are we doing a YouTube channel? Well, it was just a thing back then that morphed into maybe we can make some money, maybe, and yeah, fine. Over the last 10 years, maybe we've made a total of £6,000 over 10 years, so sort of £500 to £600 a year on average. Of course, the first year we didn't make anything because the channel wasn't monetized, so we didn't have 1,000 subscribers. We certainly didn't have 4,000 hours of watch time in the first year. 4,000 hours, that's a lot of people watching. We did get there. I remember we were on a campsite. We were doing our first sort of tour of England, and we were on a campsite. And we met Dan Trudgeon. Well, I met Dan Trudgeon. He was emptying his toilet cassette, and I was in the queue. he sort of popped his head out and said, "Oh, I know you," because we were one of the very few 10 years ago to have a YouTube channel talking about caravanning, motorhoming. There's more people in America back then, but I've got Dan to thank, so I'm sure Dan's not watching. He's still about. I still watch his channel sometimes, the Trudgeons. He was responsible for getting us our first, or tipping us over the balance, as it were, for getting us our first 100 subscribers, which was excellent because he said, "Oh, I'll give you a shout out on my channel," because he's quite, he was the channel to watch. He did loads of good stuff, not just about camping. It was about how to clean the caravan, how to put solar panels on, how to do way back then in 2016. I don't know how long he'd been going at that point, but he gave us a shout out, and we got an immediate spike in new followers or new subscribers, which tipped us over the 100, which gave us a big sort of boost to our ego, I suppose. Now we're at 10,000. I checked yesterday when I was looking at the stats for the last video. We're at 10,111 subscribers. It's gone down this week by about 5. We've lost about 5 net subscribers this week. But, YouTube doesn't care about subscribers. I thought something different would happen when you got over 10,000 subscribers, because it's quite a big milestone, isn't it? But actually, nothing different at all. It just doesn't, what I see is videos that get the most views are those that are sensational, that have clickbait titles, like things like "We had to leave," "We're leaving England," it's that sort of, you had to leave. I've seen videos where we had to leave, and shocked faces and you know, all the rest of it. But all that's happened is that they went into a campsite for a week, their booking ended, and they left the campsite. not the shock horror that the title and thumbnail tend to suggest. Now that is clickbait, because you're baiting people to click because you think it's something exciting. Not exciting. I'm not saying our videos are exciting at all. Some of them are. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are like this, me rambling on about nothing at all, just telling you how I feel today as we approach our real 10-year anniversary, the 1st of June. I think it's the 3rd of May as you watch this on Bank Holiday Sunday in May, early May, the early May Bank Holiday. Yeah, so really, I'm really appreciative of all of the all of you people, all the subscribers, all the people that comment, all the people that have helped us over the years. You know, people that sent us money when we couldn't afford to pay for Pippin's treatment in Sweden. Super appreciative of that. And it deserves a mention, so thanks everybody who gave then. Really, really appreciated. And for those of you who have stuck with us from our very first video, and I know there are some of you who have watched our very first video on the 1st of June 2016, and will probably watch our video on the 1st of June 2026. Really appreciate it. You know, it's fantastic. I don't think there's any YouTube channels that I have watched and stayed with for that long. I do watch YouTube. Wendy watches motorhoming and caravanning and thrifting sort of channels. She likes that sort of ordinary life stuff. I tend to watch technical. I'm much more on the political side, so I watch a lot of political videos, a lot of freedom sort of stuff. I love freedom. You know, living full time in a motorhome with no set location. We don't own a house or a flat or any other property. This is us, and we love this life. It really is, and I can't imagine the day when we're going to have to stop. We're going to have to stop living in a motorhome. It'll happen one day, you know, maybe. When he said to me, well, what if you can't drive anymore? I said, well, you'll have to, and I'll just have to grit my teeth. Wendy's not driven a vehicle for at least 8 years, and you know, I think it'd be difficult to just suddenly have to drive a big 3.5 ton, 7.5 metre, 3 metre tall van. It would be a challenge, I think. In an emergency, of course. But what if we can't drive anymore? What if we can't? What do you do? Well, I've often said, well, you know, we just have to find a seasonal pitch where we can park it. You know, jack it up, take the wheels off, you know, all that sort of stuff. Make it a more sort of permanent structure. And then, you know, we'll have to stay in a hotel for a couple of days once a month, you know, just to get around the you can't live in it sort of rules. You know, you'd have to leave for a few days, don't you? And then we'd have to think again and think carefully about what we do. But we love the small space. You know, I think if you offered, you know, somebody, I think if I was 20 and you offered me a small space to live in, I'd go, well, that's not great, is it? Because back then we wanted space, and as Wendy and I have gone through our lives, we've searched for bigger and bigger houses because we've had more and more children. You know, we have 4 sons, so we've had more and more children. We needed bigger and bigger, much more space and huge gardens and so on. Now we're by ourselves. The small space is ideal. In fact, you know, when we've stayed in our family's houses recently, I mean, especially up in Sweden, their house is quite big. It's a sort of normal 3-bedroom semi-detached house. You know, lounge, dining room, kitchen, and hallway and bathroom on the ground floor, and then 3 bedrooms and a bathroom on the upper floor. But that always feels too big. You know, if we had that, it would be too big for us, way too big. You know, if we ever had to go, you know, and get a flat or, you know, retirement, I'd want it to be very small, almost like a bedsit. You know, with a bedroom at one end, a kitchen at the other, and a living room and bathroom in the middle somewhere. Anyway, well, I guess, you know, we're grateful, is what I'm trying to say. I've took 20 minutes to say thank you. And a bit of reminiscing. I think what I'll do is I'll dig out some of the old photographs and I'll just splatter those along the way as we go. And yeah, you can see what we used to be like. I mean, there's the classic picture of me with very long curly hair. And I'll put the year on the pictures as well, so, you know, there we are. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you've lasted this long, that's brilliant, thank you, and we're going to see you again in the next one. We do have an exciting week coming up. Last week not that exciting, we've been settled, but I've got to go and collect solar panels and Bluetti charger too in a couple of days, so watch out for that video coming up. Anyway, we'll see you again in the next one. Thank you, bye bye.